Hi, I'm here with Sam Haiby, who's currently in Ireland. And the first question is, what are you doing in Ireland as a Nebraska graduate? Like, right, you graduated this year and, well, last year, because obviously, yeah, and now you're in Ireland. So what happened? What's going on?
Yeah, so I've received my bachelor's degree in the spring of 2022, and then I got my master's degree in the fall of 2023. I think that's right.
Okay.
And then I was in Australia, March of 2024 till about August, and then now I'm here in Ireland playing basketball. I got here early September, and hopefully we'll be here until mid-April, and we get to our league championship game.
Okay, and how is life in Ireland? How is the basketball culture like? Like from a basketball standpoint first, and then how is life off the court?
Yeah, it's been really good. The team has been super welcoming to me here. Everyone in the community that I'm in, I play for Killester basketball club. They have great support. We were just playing in Cork last weekend. We had a ton of fans there supporting us in our semifinal National Cup game, so it's been awesome. And then yeah, just life outside of basketball, just trying to fill the time. I play a lot of video games, cook a lot, go to the gym whenever I can, shoot hoops. But yeah, it's been good. Dublin's a very cool city, and it's been cool to kind of explore it as well.
Okay, because you have a degree in nutrition and health sciences, and
Mhm.
uh, the typical Irish diet, which is based on like butter and beef and a lot of like meaty fat stuff, isn't the best for a professional athlete. So you already said that you cook for yourself, right? Not much of a choice there, I guess. So what do you eat mostly here?
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of like heartier foods, I would say. But one thing about Ireland is that's great is most of their produce is very fresh. It's from here on the island itself, not imported from elsewhere. So that's been awesome. But no, they have a lot of the same stuff that we have back in America as well. So it hasn't been too much of a struggle to make healthier choices, I guess you could say.
Okay, okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
And apart from the fact that their butter is like, well, it's butter, so it's really fat. It's like world famous Irish butter is just awesome. So the quality is awesome, and as you've said, it's local, so it's
Yep.
great. Yeah. So let's take a step back in time, maybe. What was first in your life, baseball or basketball? And how did basketball
Um,
eventually win?
Yeah. So I have an older brother, and I would say that basketball is first. My like earliest memories was like dribbling a basketball in our laundry room in our basement with my older brother. I don't know, probably when I can remember, I was probably 5 or 6, but like my parents had videos when I was 3, 4. But I initially my first love was baseball. I enjoyed that a lot more than I did basketball, up until I was maybe 10 or 12. And then I kind of realized I was pretty good at basketball and I could maybe have a future in that. So I focused a lot of my time into basketball at that point. But growing up, baseball was definitely what I loved most.
And your parents allowed you to dribble the basketball inside of the house in the basement? Okay, okay. Those are
Yeah.
some
I
some,
grew up in
some
in Minnesota. It was a very cold climate, so I couldn't be outside for over half the year. So basement it was.
yeah, okay. And what do you remember about being recruited? Because I'm guessing that there was some schools were like trying to get you, right? Because you're like a
Mhm.
top 30 recruit guard in the country. So a lot of schools were interested in you. So how did the recruitment look like?
Yeah, actually it was kind of slow, I guess, to start. Maybe I flew under the radar, I'm not sure. I grew up about 4 hours away from like the big metropolitan city, so I wasn't necessarily in the heart of it where a lot of like all the big colleges and schools were. But I was fortunate enough to play for a really good club in the summer in North Tartan, and they were able to get me a lot of exposure. So kind of around like ninth, 10th, 11th grade is when I started to really get recruited. But yeah, it was definitely overwhelming at first. Your phone's ringing a lot, but it was super exciting, and I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity, so I'm definitely grateful for everything that has happened in my past.
Okay, and why did you decide on Nebraska? What made Nebraska the best choice for you?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, once my family and I stepped on campus the first time, it was kind of a no-brainer that that's where I would end up. The coaches, obviously, the players, the teammates, the facilities, but I think the main thing for Nebraska is the fan support there. You don't see a lot of support on the women's side of athletics, unfortunately. I know now it's starting to change, which is great, but Nebraska has always been there for their all of their teams, not just the big names. So I think that was a huge deciding factor on why I wanted to go there.
So the Big Ten atmosphere basically won you over. Okay,
Yeah, for
okay.
sure.
And when you joined your team in your first season, you were coming off the bench,
Mhm.
right? How did you handle the transition from being the big dog in your high school to just being like a bench player? Was it hard initially?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. Obviously, the level of basketball is a big change as well. So it's not necessarily a bad thing coming off the bench, especially as a freshman. There's a lot of players above you that have been there, have experienced it, and know what to expect. So it was really good for me to kind of learn from our senior players when I was a freshman, and then just be able to use that in the next years that I had at Nebraska to propel my career.
Okay. And from what I was able to notice just going through your like social media is that you really that it wasn't stalking, by the way. It was just research. Okay. So
Just
uh
research.
yeah, it was just research. You seem to really embrace the role of student athlete. Is that true?
Yeah, my degree is definitely a huge part of like my college career for sure.
Okay. And how did you because some people have problems with embracing the role of a student athlete, especially now with NIL. And what made you appreciate the fact that you were able to like play basketball and also study?
Yeah, I mean now it's hard to speak for a lot of the athletes now because, like you said, with the NIL, a lot of things have changed, and that might not be everyone's like initial reasoning for going to school, especially as an athlete. But I guess when I was being recruited, the degree was a huge part of your decision. And being able to get a degree from a university like Nebraska, my undergrad as well as a master's degree while playing there, was a huge like opportunity for me, I guess I would say. And I'm very grateful. And I took that seriously. To be able to have the opportunity, obviously, I want to be able to finish and earn those degrees. So just making sure that was a big point of my career as well as the basketball was.
Okay, and I want to ask you something about your college career because the 2020-2021 season in Nebraska, your junior year, right? It's statistically, it was your best year. 16
Hmm.
points, 4 and 3 assists, 6 and 5 rebounds. What made it like in comparison to the previous years? Uh, what made that year special statistically for you as a player? Like, were you given more freedom? Were you moved from two to one position? What was it?
Yeah, that year was COVID. So that was also an adjustment.
Yeah.
Um, I believe it was also the first year for me that I was like fully healthy. I've had a lot of injuries throughout my college career before that year and then as well as after. But also we had other injuries on our team as well. So we kind of had a smaller lineup. A lot of girls weren't able to play. So maybe just me being able to get more minutes just because I had to. At that point, I was able to get into a rhythm. But yeah, it was a special season. It was definitely a unique one. The no fans in the crowd was kind of odd, but it was a fun
Mhm.
year, and I'm definitely grateful I was able to perform at such a high level for my team.
Yeah, and the one thing that stands out when going through your college career is your adaptability, meaning you seem like a player who is willing to focus more on what the team needs that what you actually need to achieve. Is that true?
Mhm.
Are you the type of player that like the coach says, for example, we need somebody to rebound, and you're like, okay, pick me, and I'm gonna be the one who's like gonna handle that. Is that how you are?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I like to think that way. I like to be able to try to put my team before myself, and just kind of wherever the coach needed me. It was the same way when I was playing baseball as well. I remember my coach telling me, I was kind of like a Swiss Army knife or something. I was able to
Hmm.
play different positions, and it didn't bother me. Like wherever I could get on the field or get on the court, I was happy to do that.
Okay, because it seems to tie in with your off-court achievements, because every year at Nebraska you were named the Tom Osborne Citizenship Team. You were named to the Tom Osborne Citizenship Team. Can you tell us what it means and why it's such a big deal? Because it seems a big deal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so Coach Osborne was the football coach at Nebraska during their kind of dynasty years, I guess you could say. If you've heard of the University of Nebraska, you've probably heard of Tom Osborne. So they've named that citizenship award after him, and it's just through community outreach. So every student athlete, there's a bunch of different things you can do, whether it's interacting with special needs kids or going to schools and kind of doing pen pals. We host a lot of events at the university. Or else, and there's like career fairs you can do with businesses and companies. So just kind of getting out into the community and doing a lot of outreach stuff will get you on that Tom Osborne citizenship team.
Hmm. And what did you do personally to earn that distinction?
Yeah, so my team, we took it seriously. We tried to make sure that every single player on the women's basketball team was on that Tom Osborne citizenship team. So we did a lot of outreach at the university with kids. We did things with Halloween. We went to an assisted living home and did kind of a reverse trick-or-treating there, which was really fun. So we went up to their doors and got to talk with them on different things. We've done outreach with um, just like local, maybe underprivileged kids as well as adults, food shelter things, just stuff like that. Any way to get out into the community, as well as
Hmm.
having the kids come to our games as well.
Awesome. That's cool.
Hmm.
And you also earned the Sam Folds 27 Hero Leadership Award. So can you tell us more about this particular achievement as well?
Yeah, so the Sam Foltz Award is kind of a branch off of the Tom Osborne Award. Sam Foltz was a punter for Nebraska who lost his life tragically, I believe, in 2016. But he was also a really good human, just a really good human being, and was in the community often, super inclusive. So the university named that award after him and honoring his legacy that he had at Nebraska. So they picked 27 student athletes because he wore number 27 at the university, who were on that Tom Osborne team, who maybe went above and beyond within the community outreach. And then you receive the Tom Osborne or
Okay.
sorry, Sam Foltz Award.
Okay. And from what I've read, it was like exceptional leadership, consistent and dedicated community service, and positive influence on the team, right? So which qualities did you exhibit to earn that award?
Yeah, I hope that I was able to exhibit the leadership portion for sure and the community outreach. The outreach is easy because it's fun. They make it very easy for you to interact with fans, with kids. So that stuff isn't necessarily like a chore or anything like that. It's just stuff that you get to do. You don't have to do it. But yeah, it's an honor definitely to be able to be named to the Sam Foltz Award.
Awesome, awesome. And we already talked that you have a degree in nutrition and health sciences. So what made you interested in these two issues?
Yeah, I've always been kind of fascinated with the human body and working with that, and then just my background in sports has made it a bit more kind of unique. It's kind of a niche area to study. I'm not necessarily focused on a lot of the nutrition aspect, but more of like the kind of sports science or biomechanical movements and things like that. But I just think my fascination with the human body and how that interacts and kind of goes hand in hand with sports was definitely the reason why I chose the degree path that I did.
Okay, so when you had yours, as you've said, numerous injuries in college, did this come in handy as well?
Yeah, definitely. And at Nebraska, we're fortunate enough to have our own sports science department within the university. So obviously, you want to work with them when you're healthy to be able to prevent those injuries. But unfortunately for me, I was also working with them during my a lot of my rehab.
Yeah.
So it was good and bad, obviously, to get healthy. But I also learned a lot and it was stuff that I was interested in too. So it was fun.
Okay. And uh, I want to also ask you about some basketball aspects. So one thing that's striking about your game, at least for me, is your unique combination of handles and quickness. How are you able to just stop, start, stop, start, stop, start all the time? So when did you notice that those qualities were like well, that they were your strong, maybe, okay, I'm going to phrase it differently, that those were your strongest qualities, the combination of the two?
Yeah, I think from a young age, I was always kind of little, especially in basketball. And I realized that I was fast. I think I realized that in baseball, just running around the bases.
You're my height, come on.
Yeah. But no, yeah, I definitely try to use my speed and quickness to my advantage because a lot of my game is going to the basket and getting to the rim. So I have to be creative in ways to do that because I'm not definitely not the tallest player on the court if I'm going to be going inside. So yeah, I definitely rely on my speed a lot when I play basketball.
Okay, and did you do any drills when it comes to dribbling, like the crossovers or just other stuff?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of it, obviously, in my youth, kind of developed that, and now it's just kind of just honing those skills, I guess, staying like up to date with them. But there's always room for improvement, so just staying diligent with a lot of the ball handling stuff to complement my game.
Okay. And I also want to ask you about your time in Australia
Mhm.
last year, because it wasn't the WNBL, it was NBL 1, I think is the
Yep.
name of the league, right? So
Yep.
what I mean, people in America know mostly about the WNBL, but what about the NBL 1? Is the level of competition like significantly lower, or is it? I'm guessing that it's still competitive, but how would you rate the level of competition there at the
Yeah, so that was
NBL
my
one
first.
level? Yeah, sorry.
Yep. No, no worries. That was my first professional contract. So I ruptured my Achilles in the second to last game of my college career. So I had to take a year off, and that was my first contract and coming back to basketball, I guess you could say. But I was playing in Queensland for Mackay, the Meteorettes, and I enjoyed it a lot. One, just because I got to play basketball again, and two, I was in the northern part of the league, and that was a competitive division. It's hard to compare just because I haven't been many places, but like you said, like the WNBL is their main competitive league there, and that would be going on right now. And then the NBL one is kind of their off-season league, which is in the summer for me in America, but the winter in Australia. So a lot of maybe their Australian players that are in the WNBL will play in the NBL one just so they're not doing nothing during their off season. So it is a competitive league for sure. It kind of depends on where you're at. If you're in the north, south, east, west, or central. I know some are stronger than others, but yeah, I enjoyed my time there. I definitely think I got better in some aspects, also just because I hadn't played in a year at that point. But it was definitely fun and enjoyable to get my feet on the ground again, and get going and try to help propel my career.
Okay. And the last question I want to ask you is about your plans for after the season, because at the beginning you already told us about your plan for the season is to win it all, right?
Yeah.
So so what's the plan for? Do you already have an idea as to what you're going to do after this season is over?
Yeah, I've been kind of trying to figure that out. I've got some of my best friends that are Australian and playing over there right now, the WNBL, just to see if I can maybe go back to NBL one in the off season, or I might just go home and kind of take a little bit of a break in the summer, just because I have been playing for about a year straight now, and it's hard on the body, especially when you've had injuries. But no, we'll just kind of see what happens after this season. I'm trying not to worry about it too now because I am in the middle of a season. But yeah, maybe go back to Australia, maybe head back to the US for the summer and then next European season.
Okay, may I ask, I'm sorry, who your friends are and what teams are they playing on? Because I also cover the WNBL for our website, so interested
Yeah.
in who you get close with.
Is he born? She plays for Adelaide.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, she's one of my best friends. And then Jack Shelley. We were all teammates at Nebraska. She plays in Geelong.
okay. Like Adelaide isn't doing particularly good this season, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
maybe things will pick up. Okay. So I hope you'll be able to join them and maybe instead of focusing on your health, play some basketball in
Yeah, I
Australia, or
agree.
maybe yeah, because I mean you have just such a small window as a professional athlete, right? That's like the
Yep.
problem. People assume that professional athletes have these like dream lives, and but it's really like once you get up to 35, say 36, I mean, you have like your whole life ahead of you, and
Yeah.
yeah, so you need to make
Right.
the
So
most of it, I guess.
for
Okay, so
sure.
it was fun talking to you, and I really hope that you guys indeed will win it all in Ireland.
Thank
So
you.
all the best. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.